Hey everybody, Fallout here, and today I want to talk to you about what I think may very well be one of the most underappreciated PvP primary weapons in the meta right now, and that is the Gridskipper pulse rifle. Now, I ain't trying to bait anybody out here by making a title like
the best weapon ever,
because TBH, there's a lot of hot primary weapons out there right now which are used a ton, and all for good reason. I have yet to see the Gridskipper crack the top 10 of weapons most used in trials on any given weekend, and hand cannons are still running wild right now. Yet, even with all of that going on, I will happily roll into PvP with the Gridskipper, and here are a few reasons why. Due to being a rapid-fire frame weapon, it is a very forgiving weapon. When a 120 RPM hand cannon user misses even one bullet, it can really F up their chances at winning a 1v1 gunfight. Meanwhile, Gridskipper doesn't really give a crap about missing a bullet or even a full-on shot because the rate of fire is so damn high, you're gonna make up for the mistake right away with another quick shot. Also, with the rapid-fire frame weapon type, you have the opportunity to flinch your enemies a ton, making it more likely that they will screw up when returning fire on you. As we'll soon find out, Gridskipper has a butt-ton of top-shelf weapon perks and only a few options in each column, meaning your odds of getting a god roll Gridskipper are better than plugging in any USB device the wrong way on the first time that you try. The weapon comes with a default recoil direction of 55, by the way, and while that's not very high, the fact that it ends perfectly in a 5 means that you never got to toy with the idea of slapping on a counterbalance mod and can focus instead on either targeting adjuster, Icarus, or whatever else you'd prefer. Link to my counterbalance video in the description, by the way, if you don't know what recoil direction is or why you want that number to end in a 5. Finally, Gridskipper is painfully easy to farm for. If you head over to the helm and focus an Umbral engram, you got a 50-50 shot at getting a Gridskipper via the proper engram opening. Yeah, you'll need data to open up the engram, but override ain't that hard of an activity. TLDR, Gridskipper is easy to get, has incredible roll options, a respectable time to kill, and a very friendly ease of use factor, not to mention 120 RPM hand cannons are 100% getting nerfed soon, which in itself will be an indirect buff to the grid, an already good gun. Let's take a look at everything on the table and figure out an ideal PvP god roll. But before we get going, I'd like to give a big shout out to Hunting Clash. They're the sponsor of today's video. Hunting Clash is a free-to-play mobile game on both iOS and Android. Y'all know me, I'm kind of a sucker for shooter games, and it's fairly refreshing to play one that doesn't have any cheaters in it. Can I get a low-hanging fruit high five on that one? Thank you. There's a ton of awesome hunting grounds available across the world, which is great if you're a total indoor shut-in like me who yearns to remember the outdoors. Whoa, hold on, time out here. Quick note, there's a lot of exotic animals in this game, and I'd like to point out that if you shoot a tiger in real life, that you're a piece of human garbage and I hate you. But thankfully, just like smacking down your friends in PvP, hunting virtual animals is okay. There's a wide choice of weapons to pick from sniper rifles to bows and arrows, and interesting gear like sonars and super buffs. There's even a Christmas gun. Give me a festive skin like that for my dead man's tail, Bungie, you bunch of goddamn cowards. You also have the ability to compete with other players through duels and championships if that's your bag, and there's events every week to help you discover and play new adventures. Definitely check it out and download the game using my link down low in the video description and go get your hunt on. Thank you, Hunting Clash. All right, back to the content. Column 1, what barrel do we want? On rifles of the pulse variety, I usually want a mixture between range and stability. Stability does matter on M&K, but I always find myself caring about it more on the times that I'm playing controller. TLDR, I think if you play M&K, you should probably care more about range, and if you play controller, you should probably care equally about range and stability. Arrowhead Break right away is worth a shout out for the extra 30 to your recoil direction, bumping it up to a very tight 85. That would be the only time IMO where you should care about putting on counterbalance, because doing that would take you up to an even 100 recoil direction. Only take that route if you're finding the low default recoil direction fairly annoying. It's not that crucial that you change it, but getting up to 100 can be a big help. Chambered comp and extended barrel can take you up to 65 recoil direction. Extended barrel is probably my more preferred of the two, even though it does hurt your handling a bit more. Full bore is there for M&K people or anyone who feels they don't have any trouble at all managing the weapon kick with a penalty to stability. I wouldn't recommend full bore for controller people though, unless you really have a mastery over the weapon. Hammer forged and polygonal give a flat buff with no penalty, and small bore benefits range and stab with no drawback. Barrel is usually a user preference, but I'm gonna boil it down to my favorite 3. Arrowhead Break for the 100 recoil direction potential, Hammer Forged for M&K with the flat range buff with no drawback, and small bore for the times that I'm on controller. Column 2, we got the usual suspects here, and again, you go after what you want. But me, I want range or stability. Magazine perks aren't bad per se, but it's kind of like going to a high-end buffet and picking out a hot dog when there's filet on the table. I can pretty much skip over most of column 2 and boil it down to either ricochet rounds or high cal rounds. Ricochet is my go-to controller option, especially for a pulse rifle. Buff to both range and stability is an easy pick for me. GG no re. If I'm playing on M&K though, I want to very strongly think about finding a role with high cal rounds. Again, while M&K does care about stability, they don't need to care about it as much as controller people, and high cal gives you two things, a range buff and the ability to flinch the enemy a little bit harder. On a gun that already does really well with flinching enemies in PvP, why not lean into that benefit a little bit harder? Of course, if you wind up with any other range benefiting perk like armor piercing or light mag, yeah, that should be fine too. But overall, I'm going with ricochet or high cal rounds, end of story. Column 3, and this is where the fun begins. Now, usually this is where we weed out perks that we don't want, but what do we have here? The perks in column 3 rank from very good to just regular good. It's really not that hard to get a quality perk in column 3, one of the things I really like about the grid. If I had to pick out one perk I might not want though, it would probably be Slideways. But even still, not a bad perk. Reloads part of your mag and gives you better stability and handling for 3 seconds overall. Controller players might appreciate that a fair amount and give it a try if you manage to get one with that perk. Firmly planted IMHO is kind of an acquired taste, like fried pickles or the Big Lebowski. You get better accuracy, stability, and handling when firing your gun while crouching. Your goal with planted shouldn't be to crab walk around the map like a goon, by the way, but rather periodically throw a crouch into your PvP gunfight. Improving your accuracy alone is huge, and using planted the right way could lead to a lot of one gunfights that you otherwise probably might have lost. The remaining perks are all unquestionably top tier in my opinion, and you should go for whichever one you like most. Killing Wind gives better range, handling, and mobility for about 6 seconds. I know I show this clip a lot, but the better strafe speed while Killing Wind is active is incredibly noticeable, not to mention your weapon's gonna feel better overall. The movement benefit on moving target isn't nearly as good as the moving benefit on Killing Wind, but that's not why I like it. ADSing your weapon literally at any time adds extra aim assist to your weapon. You don't have to be moving in order to get that benefit, by the way. Just ADS your weapon. Honestly, the perk should be called Target if you really think about it. But yeah, ADSing your weapon is something you're gonna do in literally every PvP game, making moving target god tier no matter how you slice it. Heating Up and Tunnel Vision are two new-ish perks which are both phenomenal. Tunnel Vision improves your target acquisition and ADS speed when reloading after a kill, and Heating Up gives better weapon accuracy and stability immediately after a final blow. If you haven't watched it yet, definitely head down to the video description and check out my video that covers both Tunnel Vision and Heating Up in depth, including the visual comparison on both the accuracy and aim assist cone. The TLDR is that improving either your weapon's accuracy or aim assist cone is too good of an opportunity to pass up, and because it activates on a weapon kill, there are plenty of opportunities to take advantage of it in PvP. It is really hard for me to pick a winner in column 3, no joke. Golden gun to my head though, I'm either gonna go with moving target or tunnel vision, but again, Killing Wind and Heating Up are cracked, and you should chase down whatever perk you like the most. Why don't we hop on over to column 4, where the better perks are slightly more noticeable. Right away, I am ruling out Frenzy. Top tier perk for PvE, but when I'm fighting other Guardians, Frenzy is something that you'll almost never get to take advantage of because the activation requirement is too strict. But really though, if you're dealing damage for 12 seconds continuously to people in PvP to activate the perk to begin with, odds are you don't really need any extra help with damage. High impact reserves are, yeah, they can slightly make some kills easier depending on your enemy's resil and while you're at the bottom of the mag, but we've got way better options to pick from here. Snapshot is straightforward and needs little explanation. Yeah, it might not help you frag out like other options here, but having a better ADS speed, never a bad thing. The final 3 perks are what I'm currently hunting for on my god tier grid. Thresh. Now that Thresh has been turned on in PvP, it's become a really desirable weapon perk overall. Every kill can help you get your super that much quicker, and in game types like Trials or Comp, where getting your super early can translate to a literal free round win, it's hard to deny the power of Thresh. Icing on the cake, by the way, Gridskipper is a void primary weapon, meaning that any filthy Warlock mains out there who want to pair the grid together with Nezarec Sin, you're going to be reaping a lot of neutral game benefits in PvP if you've got Thresh. Adrenaline Junkie is very hit or miss, but the potential is hard to deny. Think of Adrenaline Junkie as Rampage, but with a much more strict activation criteria, paired together with a much longer duration. They both have 3 levels of damage ramp up, 10, 21, and 33%, but whereas Rampage has a measly 3.5 second duration, Adrenaline Junkie the Chad is 10 seconds long. If you get the perk to proc, it is fairly guaranteed that you're about to win your next 1v1 gunfight, provided you don't get interrupted by a third person, team shot, or ability killed. The only downside to Junkie is that you gotta get a grenade kill to proc it, which can be difficult depending on your build and overall loadout. If you play a class that frequently gets grenade kills, it is 100% worth it for you to try and hunt down a Junkie role. And God help the enemy team if you manage to get a grenade double kill, by the way, because then you'll be carving through the enemy team for the next few moments. Finally, we have multi-kill clip. Reloading gives more damage based on the number of rapid kills made beforehand. The damage ramp ups on multi-kill clip are as follows: 17% at level 1, 33% at level 2, and 50% at level 3. Even though most of the time you'll only be proccing level 1, a 17% damage buff is nothing to scoff at, and with a 5-second duration, you'll be ripping and tearing a lot with MKC. Unlike Junkie, the biggest upside here is the activation criteria couldn't be easier. Kill somebody with your weapon, which you're going to be doing multiple times in any game of PvP, and then reload. While I think other perks are great for certain builds and loadouts, multi-kill clip is the very safe top tier pick that'll help you kill harder with no extra complication. For your masterwork, again, go after whatever you want more on your grid, range, or stability. For me, if I'm on M&K, I'm going range, but for controller, I'd be completely happy with either of the two. All right, let's review what we've gone over, and I'm gonna pick out 2 overall PvP god rolls, a neutral game god roll and a high ceiling frag out god roll. For the neutral game god roll, column 1 is your pick, but I'm leaning Arrowhead, Hammer Forged, or Small Bore. Column 2 is gonna be Ricochet or High Cal, depending on your input method. Column 3 is your pick between Tunnel Vision, Killing Wind, Moving Target, or Heating Up. I'm kinda leaning more towards Moving Target, which is king neutral game perk because it literally works only by ADSing. Column 4, I'm gonna go with Snapshot or Thresh, and there you got a weapon roll that is literally always taking advantage of every perk you've got on the gun, a great PvP contender. Now, let's go for our high ceiling roll, aka if you get the right perks to activate, the other team better run and hide. Column 1 and column 2, same options I went over before. Column 3 and 4, I think I'm gonna go with Tunnel Vision and Multi-Kill Clip. Both perks require reloading after a kill to activate, meaning they will turn on together. And between the two of them, you can absolutely devastate a team with not too much effort. You got more damage being pumped out on a gun with better aim assist and a quicker ADS speed. And that's it, our PvP god roll Gridskipper. Remember that farming for the grid is a cakewalk, and definitely try to get one before the inevitable 120 RPM hand cannon nerf that we all know is coming. Thank you very much for watching today's video, and another shout out to Hunting Clash, the sponsor of today's content. Head down to the video description and download the game for free using my link. Thank you again, Hunting Clash. Extra shout out to my patrons. If you would like to learn more about supporting the channel that way, please check out my Patreon, patreon.com/falloutplays. Click the like button if you enjoyed today's video even a little bit, and I appreciate those who do. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.